Hello everybody, my name is welcome again to Checkable Reality. So, first of all, I apologize for not having posted this video earlier, actually making this video and posting it earlier. Last night or yesterday afternoon, I wanted to take a little bit of a nap, laid down, and when I woke up, it was like 9:30, 9:45. Realized that it was a bit late to start tuning into a live debate, and I was still tired and whatever. Basically, I didn't watch it until a couple hours ago, or I didn't start watching until a couple hours ago. Just got done watching it like 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. Got some dinner. And I have to say that the debate Thursday night was a lot stronger than the debate on Wednesday night. I don't know if it's because necessarily the field of candidates or what exactly was going on there. But the one with Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, John Hickenlooper. I don't know why. Hickenlooper was kind of like my favorite of the night. He started off strong, ended strong. I really liked him. I don't think he's going to win, but from a libertarian point of view, Hickenlooper was pretty awesome. I started taking notes and I realized that part of what made the first video a couple nights ago a little boring was that I was reading from notes a lot, and I realized I don't really need notes the way I thought I did. I actually kind of got a good impression. Again, it was a good debate. People were very lively. People were very most people were very lively. Some people were a little, sleepy. But I'll mostly be talking a little bit off the cuff. Some from the notes, but really, I mean, there wasn't a lot of diversity in the field as far as like the environment's concerned, as far as foreign policy maybe. A lot of them believe that Russia was the most, was the biggest threat to the United States. And what just happened there with me happened a lot with the two oldest candidates on the stage, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. Oh my God. You would think that Joe Biden, being the front runner, would be somebody who must be really good at, must be really good at debates, must be really good at campaigning. He is not. You watch him and you go, how? How exactly is he the front runner? Oh, right, because he was Obama's vice president. People think that he is Obama. Really, I mean, that's one of the things that's really holding him back, besides himself, is this is the fact that now we are at a point where where Democrats are able to criticize the Obama administration. And a lot of times what I heard Obama-Biden administration more times tonight or in the debate last night than I think I ever did during during those actual 8 years. I mean, Joe Biden really is being held accountable for the things that happened in that administration, for better or for worse. And, unfortunately, he's in a position where he has to defend a lot of things that happened during those 8 years in the White House. And he has to defend it, and he has to find a way of both differentiating himself from Obama and saying that he had a lot to do with, achievements that were accomplished during the Obama administration. Very hard thing to do, and unfortunately, I don't think Joe Biden did that very well. He didn't do it very well. He was very tired and very geriatric. I mean, he and Bernie Sanders were so slow, and they would ask, like, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. very and Joe, he kept saying things and then being like, oh wait, I just misspoke, correcting it. And I mean, you can do that once, twice. I mean, we get it, it's a live event, but to have it happen like 10, 15 times where you stumble over your words, where you say the wrong thing, have to correct it, or you say the wrong thing and you don't correct it because you didn't even realize you said the wrong thing. I mean, it was not very good for Joe Biden. Bernie Sanders fared a little bit better. His was very strong. I think after campaigning for the 2 years that he did in 2016, I think he gained a lot of experience. Was just kind of getting his ideas out. Kamala Harris, I mean, I can see now having watched the debate, I can kind of see where she gets a lot of her popularity from. Not that I liked her necessarily, because I still think that she's a piece of shit. And not only she's a piece of shit because of what she has done in the past, and just but also this tough on crime. I mean, she and Bernie Sanders were tough on crime Democrats back in the day, back in the 90s. And a lot of people don't really seem to believe that. I mean, Kamala Harris can claim to be, an advocate for, these, underprivileged people she wants. But, I mean, she's part of the problem that she complains about. Or at least she was. Hickenlooper, I don't know if I've mentioned him already, but Hickenlooper stole the show for me. I mean, as a libertarian, I loved Hickenlooper. He said a lot of things that I wish other Democrats would say. Like that he doesn't want the Democratic Party to go down the slippery slope of saying that they are socialist. I mean, I know Bernie Sanders says Democratic Socialist, but he still uses the word socialist. Hickenlooper was he got out the idea that he is not socialist. He does not defend socialism. He does not want the Democratic Party to be branded with the title of socialist, because it doesn't fare well. It doesn't fare well in the public, in the public eye. I've said this a billion times. There are not as many socialists as a lot of people tend to try and believe. I mean, it's not a thing. And while, Bernie Sanders certainly, lit a torch as far as, people being more open about being socialist, it's still not as big of a thing as some people like to put on. And Hickenlooper was saying, if the Democratic Party goes down the road of saying we are a socialist party, that it's almost inevitable that Trump is going to win a second term. And regardless of how you feel about Trump, that statement is almost, I have to agree with that statement. The Democratic Party, if it goes down that road, is not doing itself any favors. And he was a healthcare as a right kind of person. Again, I mean, I've changed my view on this in the last couple of years. I actually agree. Healthcare is a right. It is, we are, all walking meat sacks that are, destined to get disease and to get ailments and to break bones. And it is, if we have the right to life, as, said in the Declaration of Independence, then we certainly should be acting on that and acting, yes, these people have a right to seek treatment. Gillibrand. What is Gillibrand known for again? What exactly did she do in the past? I don't really know. I think that what Gillibrand's brand is, if I can do the pun, is she's a young female. That's kind of her thing. She wants to be known as a strong female voice. She spent a lot of time on the debate stage kind of going on and on about, strong female feminist stuff. She was a Medicare for all person, meaning that everyone has to be on Medicare, no private insurance. Bennett Bennett, I believe, was the one who sounded like Mr. Mackey. Like, oh my God, when he talked, it was so droll and so, like, unenergetic. I don't know how on earth he managed to get on that stage, because holy crap, he cannot. He was a Medicare for some, meaning, when I say Medicare for some, I mean Medicare as an option for all. I mean, there were no Democrats in the last 2 nights who had all said that, they didn't agree with universal health care. Now, whether or not that's actually true, I don't know. But they all claimed that they wanted to have it, at least as an option, to have Medicare for all, or to have a government insurance as a default, and you could get a public, a private insurance. Some, on the other hand, were saying that it needs to be mandatory, no private insurance, and that seems to be the big debate in the Democratic Party as far as the presidential candidates are concerned. But yeah, Bennett was a wash. He was one of the few that I was saying, like, yeah, no, this guy has no chance. Buttigieg was not horrible, at least in talking. I didn't necessarily agree with a lot of things he was saying, but at least I could see why I've heard his name a bunch, because he did have a lot of enthusiasm. I think he is able to get from the audience what he wants to get from the audience. He wasn't necessarily he was saying, he was one of the few, or at least one of the few who said that he didn't agree necessarily in having free college for everyone, rather than free college should be for people of the lower and middle class. Upper class, they should have to pay for college. I don't know how you feel about that. I don't even know how I feel about that statement. But he did bring up a good point. I mean, he was a Medicare for some person, first of all. And second of all, he is someone who believes that, that's how I know he was from New York, or like a big city, was the fact that he was saying that the minimum wage should be $15. And that instead of focusing so much on, free college, that we should be making it affordable to, to not go to college, to get a job and not have gone to college. That, is something that we should be able to look into. I agree with that. I mean, not everyone needs to go to college. I mean, it's just a fact. Not every job needs to have a college degree behind it. I mean, it's just, yeah. Swalwell. He was the one with the orange tie. That's pretty much all I know about him. That and the fact that he kept yelling at Joe Biden, and by proxy, Bernie Sanders, who's actually a year older than Joe Biden, to pass the torch. He kept saying pass the torch. I guess referring to a speech that Joe Biden made, I don't know when, I don't know where, but apparently he said that it was time to pass a torch onto a younger generation, to have them handle some of these situations. And Joe Biden, after pass the torch was said several times, he's like, I'm not ready to pass the torch. And he talked a little bit. I think that if anything, Swalwell will be remembered from, if anything, from quoting pass the torch. I don't know how effective that is. I think most people that agree with him already understood that Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders took a lot of offense to it too, because he's a year older than Joe Biden. So the fact that, I mean, the two front runners are people who are 77 and 78, actually 76 and 77 respectively, and by the time 2021 comes around, it'll be 27, oh my God, 77 and 78, or around that. So, yeah, but that's all Swalwell really came up with. He was like Bennett. He wasn't really that memorable. And then you had two. And then you had the entrepreneur. Or I think he was an entrepreneur. He was kind of a Elon Musk type, I would say. And you had an author. It was interesting watching the author. Mostly because she was an author and she was doing clever stuff with words. But I mean, she's not a candidate for the presidency. And the fact that she was standing on that stage, I think, was a little amusing, to say the least. I could definitely tell that she was mostly doing this because she wants to write a book. She wants to become, a little bit. She wants to get some name recognition, Williamson, and be able to sell a book about Democratic stuff. I'm sure she's written something already. And Yang. Yang, oh boy. The first thing we find out about Yang is that he has a proposal, and he's dead-ass serious about this too, that every single American who is over the age of 18, so that's a shit ton of people, all of them should receive $1,000 a month. No questions asked, regardless of what they do, regardless of who they are. $1,000 a month stipend. No questions asked, no takesies, backsies, nothing. And this money, of course, does not come from him. It comes from the federal government. And he was the only person I've heard in the last 2 years, last 2 nights, who got laughed at. Who actually got laughed at, not laughed from, laughed at by the audience. And it was so funny too, because the host, I don't remember his name. I don't know the people on NBC. He was saying this. He's like, so you're well known as being the guy who, he didn't exactly say it like that, but the guy who said that he wanted to give $1,000 to every adult in America a month. How? And Yang was like, what? Like, almost as if he was thrown off by the thought himself. Like, did I say that? Did I say that we should give $1,000 to every adult a month? He did his best to explain how that's supposed to work. And he did his best to explain what exactly that helps with. I guess in his mind, $1,000 a month keeps people off the streets. And I guess encourages, I don't know what the fuck, it was the most bullshit thing I've ever fucking heard. Honestly, would I love a check of $1,000 a month? Absolutely. $1,000 is like half of what I make a month. I would love to get $1,000 a month, for nothing. But it's unreasonable, and it comes out, and that was the thing too, is he was saying we give everyone $1,000 a month, and then that's still taxable money, and so I guess depending on how much money you make, they take the money back, so you give people $1,000 just to take it back again. And he tried to explain how that's not exactly, and if you're in the lower, tier, then you're not going to get money taken back. Some shit. It was so garbage. It's clearly something that he came up with because he thought A, it sounded snazzy, B, it sounded socialist. It's not really socialist, it's communist. And C, that it got him on the stage. I have to believe that is why that man was standing on the stage, so that he could be asked that question and nearly nothing else. The only other thing he got asked specifically was about Chinese Chinese competition. I mean, I hope it wasn't out of a racist thing. I guess it was because he's a tech entrepreneur or something. But yeah, this man, I mean, that's the only thing I'm going to remember him for. The only thing I remember Swalwell for is for saying pass the torch. The only thing I remember Yang for is for saying every adult should get $1,000 a month regardless of anything. Who else was on that list? Yeah, I don't know. What I will say is that if by the time voting gets around to Florida and the Democrats pretty much have a presumptive winner, I don't know. I really liked Hickenlooper. I hope he doesn't get dropped. He did seem pretty enthusiastic. He made more sense than Joe Biden. I mean, I think he was more of a mediator than Joe Biden. I mean, honestly, he made a lot more sense. He was a lot more. I mean, really, I liked Hickenlooper. I didn't like everything he said, but he made a lot of sense. And I liked it. And if anything, if he gets remembered for anything, if he gets forgotten, I hope it's everything except the fact that he warned the Democratic Party. Thursday night he warned them, do not let this party be branded the Socialist Party. We cannot win on a foundation of socialism. Donald Trump will win again. And regardless of how you feel about Donald Trump, that is just true. It's just true. The American people do not want to vote for a socialist. It's just a fact. Bernie Sanders is if he becomes the nominee, the Democrats don't win. If Joe Biden becomes the nominee, the Trump wins. If Kamala Harris wins, I don't know. I don't think they win. I don't see a strong candidate, like a leading candidate, who actually makes like half a lick of sense to anyone except the far left. I mean, honestly, that's how I see it. I don't see anyone really standing out, who's in the front lines, who makes sense. I see a lot of people in the back who kind of, they either make sense or at least they're not radical, but not a whole lot on the front. So, I don't know. This video is shorter. Hopefully, you guys got more out of it. And hopefully you appreciated that I didn't sit here and read off the, the papers the whole time. I mean, I didn't really want to do that, so I'll talk to you guys later. Man, it is hot in this car. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.